My stepfather threw a bottle of beer at me for refusing to give him access to my bank account with $500,000 savings. So I called 911 and he spent Christmas in jail awaiting trial. Welcome, family. If this story touches your heart, show some love by subscribing and letting us know where you're watching from. Now let's go on with the story. The beer bottle missed my head by inches, shattering against the kitchen wall behind me. Brown liquid dripped down the family photos. The same photos where my stepfather Boyd had his arm around my shoulders, smiling like he actually loved me. "You ungrateful bitch," he snarled, reaching for another bottle. "After everything I've done for you?" My hands trembled as I clutched my phone, but I kept my voice steady. "Boyd, you're drunk. Let's talk about this tomorrow when you're sober." "Tomorrow?" He laughed, a sound like broken glass. "I need that money now. Your mama said you'd help family. Or are you too good for us now?" I'd worked 3 jobs through college, slept in my car between shifts, survived on ramen and determination. $500,000 in my savings account wasn't luck. It was blood, sweat, and 7 years of sacrifice. I'd launched a digital marketing business that finally took off last year, and suddenly, everyone wanted a piece of my success. My mother appeared in the doorway, her face unreadable. "Baby, just give him access to the account. He'll pay it back." That's when I knew. They'd planned this together. My own mother, who'd stood by while Boyd criticized every choice I made, was now asking me to hand over my future. The bottle dripping on the wall wasn't just beer. It was the death of every illusion I'd held about family. "No," I whispered, then louder, "No." Boyd moved toward me and I dialed 911. The memory hit me as I waited for the police. I was 22, crying in my Honda Civic after another double shift. Boyd had just moved in with Mama and I'd been hopeful. Finally, a father figure who'd support her, maybe even me. "You studying business?" Boyd had asked that first week, looking at my laptop covered in marketing textbooks. "That's ambitious for a girl from your background." I should have heard the condescension. That I heard interest. "I want to build something," I told him. "Something that's mine." He'd nodded, smiled, cracked open a beer. "Your mama said you were smart. Just don't forget where you came from here." Back then I thought he meant stay humble. Now I understood he meant stay small, stay accessible, stay useful. Every family dinner after my business launched became an interrogation about my finances. How much did I make? Where did I keep it? Did I have investments? "You should let me manage some of that money," Boyd had suggested 3 months ago. "I got connections. I could double it." My younger brother Darnell had warned me. "Sis, he's asking everybody about your accounts. He told Uncle Ray you're sitting on $500,000. I'd confronted Mama, who dismissed my concerns. "Boyd is just proud of you, baby. You're being paranoid." But paranoia was just pattern recognition. And the pattern was clear. Boyd saw me as a bank, not a daughter. Tonight proved I'd been right to refuse him. The sirens in the distance grew louder. 2 officers entered through the door I'd unlocked. Officer Williams, a black woman with kind eyes, and her partner, a younger white officer named Torres. They took in the scene immediately. Broken glass, beer soaking the carpet, Boyd swaying drunk, me backed into a corner with blood on my forehead from a shard I hadn't even felt hit me. "She's being disrespectful," Boyd slurred. "This is my house. I'm disciplining my daughter." "I'm 29 years old," I said quietly. "And he's not my father." Officer Williams stepped between us. "Sir, did you throw that bottle?" She needed to learn respect. "That's assault. Turn around." The handcuffs clicked and something in me broke, not with sadness but with clarity. My mother rushed forward, screaming that I was ruining Christmas, that Boyd didn't mean it, that I was tearing the family apart. Darnell appeared from upstairs, taking in the scene with wide eyes. "Mama, he threw a bottle at her head," Darnell said. "There's blood." "You stay out of this," Mama snapped. Officer Williams turned to me. "Ma'am, you'll need to come to the station to give a statement. I'd also recommend getting that cut checked at the ER." As they led Boyd out, he locked eyes with me. The hate there was pure, undiluted. "You're dead to this family," he hissed. "Dead." The door closed. Silence settled like ash. My mother stood in the middle of her destroyed living room, looking at me like I was the one who'd thrown the bottle, like I was the villain in a story where I'd only tried to survive. The ER was nearly empty on Christmas Eve. A tired resident, Dr. Oliver, according to her badge, cleaned the cut above my eyebrow while I sat in paper gown numbness. 3 stitches. A small scar to remember the night by. You're lucky, she said. 2 inches lower and we'd be talking about eye damage. Lucky. I almost laughed. Darnell had driven me against Mama's protests. Now he sat in the waiting room, scrolling through his phone with the kind of focus that meant he was avoiding conversation. He was only 23, still living at home, still dependent on Mama and Boyd for rent money while he finished his degree. I need to ask you something, I said when Dr. Oliver left to get discharge papers. Darnell looked up, guilt already in his eyes. Sis. How long has Boyd been planning this? He was quiet for a long moment. Then, 3 months. Since you bought the new house. He kept saying you were getting too big for your britches, that you owed Mama for raising you. He told her you should be giving the family at least $5,000 a month. 5,000. 60,000 a year. In what world was that reasonable? Why didn't you tell me? I tried. That day I called about him asking Uncle Ray about your finances. You should have been more direct. I was scared, Darnell admitted. Boyd said if I warned you he'd kick me out. I've got 1 semester left, sis. I can't afford my own place. I understood then. We were all trapped in different ways by Boyd's manipulation. The difference was I'd built an exit. Darnell was still inside the cage. My phone exploded with messages while we waited. Aunt Linda, how could you have your stepfather arrested on Christmas? Uncle Ray, family handles things privately. My cousin Shanice, girl, your mama is crying her eyes out. But then one message stood out from my grandmother, Mama's mother. Come see me tomorrow. Alone. Grandma Dee lived in a small apartment across town. She'd always been the family truth teller, the one person who saw through Boyd's charm from day one. When he and Mama got married 5 years ago, Grandma Dee had pulled me aside at the reception. That man's got empty eyes, she'd said. He's with your Mama for what she can get from you. I dismissed it. Mama had been alone so long after Daddy died when I was 12. She deserved happiness. Boyd seemed stable, employed, decent. But Grandma Dee had seen what I'd missed. Mama had bragged about my business success to everyone, including Boyd, before they even met. He'd targeted her specifically. Now sitting in the ER, I scrolled back through old text messages. There it was, clear as day. Mama asking about my finances, my business accounts, my investments. Questions I'd thought were maternal interest were reconnaissance. Darnell, I said slowly. Has Boyd ever worked since he moved in? My brother shifted uncomfortably. He does, consulting. At least that's what he tells people. What does he actually do? Day drinks and plays video games. Mama pays all the bills. With what money? Mama worked part-time at a salon. Her income couldn't support 2 adults and Darnell. Unless. He's been taking money from Mama's account, hasn't he? Darnell nodded. She's maxed out 3 credit cards in 2 years. The picture became clearer, uglier. Boyd had bled Mama dry and now they were coming for me. I spent Christmas morning in my own house. A 3-bedroom colonial I'd bought with cash 6 months ago. No mortgage. No debt. Pure freedom. Or so I'd thought. Grandma Dee arrived at 9, carrying a folder I didn't recognize. She hugged me hard, studying the bandage above my eye with tears in her eyes. I should have told you sooner, she said, settling into my kitchen chair. I thought you'd call me paranoid like everyone else. She opened the folder. Inside were printed Facebook messages, text screenshots, even bank statements. Your Uncle Ray gave me these. He felt guilty about feeding Boyd information. The messages made my stomach turn. Boyd had been asking everyone about my finances for over a year. She's got money to burn, he'd written to my cousin. Acts like she's better than us now. We raised her. She owes us. Raised me. He'd known me for 7 years. My father, my real father, had raised me until cancer took him. Boyd was a stranger wearing father clothes. But the bank statements were worse. Mama had opened a credit card in my name 2 years ago. Small charges at first, gas, groceries. Then bigger ones. The balance was now $47,000. Identity theft, Grandma D said flatly. Your mama committed a felony, baby. The room spun. How did you? Uncle Ray felt guilty. He gave me everything when he heard about last night. She pushed another paper toward me. And there's more. It was a quitclaim deed. Boyd had convinced Mama to add his name to her house. The house Daddy had bought that should have been our inheritance. If anything happened to Mama, Boyd would own it all. Darnell and I would get nothing. Detective Ramsey called that afternoon. He'd reviewed the case, seen the hospital photos, talked to the responding officers. Boyd was being charged with assault and battery, held on $10,000 bail. He's also made threats against you from holding, Detective Ramsey said. Enough that we're recommending a restraining order. My voice felt distant, disconnected. What kind of threats? I'd rather discuss this in person. Can you come to the station tomorrow? After we hung up, I sat in my perfect living room, the one I'd decorated myself, paid for myself, dreamed about during those nights sleeping in my car. Everything I'd built felt suddenly fragile. One drunk man with a bottle had shattered my illusion of family, of belonging, of unconditional love. Darnell called. Mama's trying to bail him out. She's calling everyone for money. Let her. Sis. I mean it. Let her drain every resource. Let her show everyone exactly who she chooses. There was pain in being disowned, but there was also freedom. No more obligatory dinners where Boyd criticized my success. No more Mama guilt-tripping me about being too busy to visit. No more pretending we were a functional family when we were just people connected by blood and shared trauma. What are you going to do? Darnell asked. I'm going to press charges. And then I'm going to handle the credit card fraud. I paused. You should move out, Darnell. Stay with me until you graduate. Mama would never forgive. Mama chose. Now you have to choose too. The line went quiet. Then, I'll pack tonight. The courthouse was brutally cold on December 28th. I sat with my attorney, Jessica Monroe, a black woman in her 40s who specialized in domestic violence cases. Across the aisle, Boyd sat with a public defender, looking rough after 4 days in jail. Mama sat behind him, glaring at me like I was the criminal. All rise for Judge Anderson. Judge Anderson was an older black man with gray at his temples and the tired eyes of someone who'd seen too much human ugliness. He reviewed the file, looked at my stitches, then fixed Boyd with a stare that could freeze water. Mr. Patterson, you threw a glass bottle at Ms. Thompson's head on Christmas Eve because she refused to give you access to her bank account. Is that correct? Boyd's lawyer started to speak, but Boyd interrupted. Your Honor, she's my daughter. She's being disrespectful and ungrateful. I was just trying to discipline. She's 29 years old, Judge Anderson said flatly. You have no legal relationship to her. You assaulted her in her mother's home. What am I missing? She's got money. We're family. She should share. Stop talking. Judge Anderson looked at me. Miss Thompson, what are you requesting? Jessica stood. A restraining order requiring Mr. Patterson to stay at least 500 feet from Ms. Thompson, her home and her place of business. We're also requesting no contact through third parties, including her mother. Granted. Anything else? My client has discovered that her mother opened a credit card in her name without permission. She's prepared to file identity theft charges. Mama gasped audibly. Boyd turned to her furious. You said she'd never find out about that. Judge Anderson's expression darkened. Mrs. Patterson, do you want to tell me you committed identity theft against your own daughter? The courthouse cleared except for essential parties. Mama sat in the witness box looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. She was 53 but looked 70. The weight of secrets aged people faster than time. Mrs. Patterson, Jessica said gently, when did you open the credit card in your daughter's name? Mama's voice was barely a whisper. 2 years ago. Boyd said we needed it. He said she wouldn't mind, that it was family money anyway. Did you ask Miss Thompson's permission? No. Did you tell her about the card? No. What was the money used for? Mama finally looked at me, tears streaming. His gambling debts. His car payments. His lawyers from his last marriage. He said if I didn't help him, he'd leave me. I can't be alone again. I can't. And there it was, the root of everything. Mama's fear of abandonment had cost her everything. Her integrity, her relationship with her children, $47,000 she'd never be able to repay. She'd chosen a mediocre man over her own daughter because being half-loved by someone felt safer than standing alone. I'm sorry, she sobbed. Baby, I'm so sorry. I didn't know he'd hurt you. I thought you'd just give him the money and everything would be fine. You thought I'd give a drunk stranger $500,000? My voice cracked. Mama, I slept in my car. I ate expired food from the break room. I worked until my hands bled building something of my own. And you thought I'd just hand it over? You have so much. We have nothing. You have nothing because you gave everything to a man who never loved you. He loved your access to me. After the hearing, Detective Ramsey pulled me into a private room. He looked grim. Miss Thompson, we dug into Mr. Patterson's background. He's done this before. He laid out a file. 3 previous relationships, all with single mothers who had successful adult children. He moves in, isolates the mother, then pressures the children for money. When they refuse, things escalate. My blood went cold. How bad? One victim ended up in intensive care. Broken ribs, collapsed lung. She'd refused to co-sign a loan for $50,000. And he's been free this whole time? The victim didn't press charges. Family pressure. She recanted her statement, said she fell downstairs. I thought about Mama's tears, her desperate apologies. Would she have testified against Boyd if he'd hurt me worse? Or would family loyalty have kept her silent while I bled? There's more, Ramsey continued. We found messages on his phone from the night of the incident. He'd been planning to coerce you, possibly physically, if you didn't give him account access. Your brother's name came up. My heart stopped. Darnell. Boyd wrote to someone, we're still identifying who, that if you didn't cooperate, the boy would be leverage. We think he planned to threaten or harm your brother. Darnell. My baby brother who'd warned me despite his fear, who'd driven me to the hospital, who'd chosen to leave Mama's house and stay with me. Boyd had been willing to hurt him to get to my money. I want him prosecuted to the fullest extent. I said. Everything. Assault, attempted extortion, all of it. We'll need your full cooperation. You have it. Word spread fast. By New Year's Eve, I'd been uninvited from every family gathering. Aunt Linda called me selfish. Uncle Ray said I should have handled it quietly. Cousins who'd smiled at my business launch now posted vague Facebook statuses about ungrateful people who forget their roots. But Grandma D stood firm. And surprisingly, so did other people. My cousin Shanice called 2 days after the hearing. I need to tell you something, she said. Boyd tried this with me last year. He wanted $20,000 for an investment opportunity. When I said no, he told Mama I was disrespecting family. She didn't talk to me for 3 months. Why didn't you tell me? Same reason Darnell didn't. I was scared. But watching you stand up to him, you gave me permission to admit what happened. Over the next week, 3 more relatives came forward. Boyd had a pattern. Charm the matriarch, isolate her from logical family members, then systematically target anyone with resources. He'd gotten $15,000 from my cousin Troy, $30,000 from Uncle Ray, smaller amounts from others. None of them reported it because family doesn't call police on family. But I had. And in doing so, I'd broken an unspoken rule. Suffer silently or be exiled. I'd chosen exile. Darnell thrived in my guest room. Away from Boyd's criticism and Mama's enabling, he smiled more, studied better, stopped walking on eggshells. I forgot what peace felt like, he told me one night. Mama, meanwhile, visited Boyd in jail every day. She'd taken out a title loan on her car to cover his legal fees. She was drowning and I couldn't save someone determined to sink. Boyd's trial happened in March, 3 months after the bottle that changed everything. The courtroom was packed, His other victims had come forward, creating a pattern of behavior case that his public defender couldn't fight. I testified first. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Diana Torres, walked me through that night with careful precision. What did Mr. Patterson say when you refused him access to your account? He called me an ungrateful bitch. He said I owed him for everything he'd done for me, even though he'd been in my life only 7 years and had never supported me financially or emotionally. What happened next? He threw a beer bottle at my head. It missed, but glass shards cut my forehead. Then he reached for another bottle. Were you afraid? My voice broke. I was terrified. Not just of the bottles but of what it meant. That my own mother had helped plan this. That the people who were supposed to love me saw me as nothing but a bank account with legs. Mama sat in the back row crying. Part of me wanted to comfort her. Most of me felt nothing. Boyd's other victims testified. The woman who'd been hospitalized. The man who'd lost his savings. The elderly mother who'd given her retirement fund. A pattern of predation spanning 15 years. When Boyd took the stand, he showed no remorse. These people had money they weren't using. I had needs. Family takes care of family. You assaulted Miss Thompson when she refused to give you $500,000. You call that family? She had an obligation. To whom? A man she'd known 7 years who contributed nothing to her success. Boyd had no answer. The jury deliberated for 90 minutes. Guilty on all counts. Boyd got 6 years. Mama divorced him after the sentencing but never apologized. Not really. She sent birthday cards I didn't open, left voicemails I didn't hear. She'd made her choice and I'd made mine. Darnell graduated with honors and got a job at a tech company. He still lived with me, saving for his own place, healing from years of Boyd's psychological abuse. We had Taco Tuesdays and movie nights. We built the family we should have had. The credit card debt? I reported it but ultimately paid it off myself. Prosecuting Mama felt like destroying whatever ghost of a relationship remained. Some battles aren't worth the cost to your soul. My business thrived. I hired a therapist who specialized in family trauma. I learned that love shouldn't cost your peace, your safety, or your financial future. I learned that the family you choose matters more than the family you're born into. But on quiet nights I still grieve. Not for Boyd, he earned his cell. Not even for Mama, who chose comfort over courage. I grieve for the daughter I was who believed family was sanctuary. I grieve for the little girl whose father died and left her vulnerable to predators wearing father masks. Last week I got a letter from Mama. She's sick, nothing terminal but scary enough to make her reflective. She wrote that she understands why I can't forgive her, that she'd do things differently if given the chance. She wrote that she loved me, always had, even when fear made her betray that love. I haven't responded. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Forgiveness isn't mandatory and reconciliation isn't healing. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from people who love you badly and build a life where you're loved well. I touch the small scar above my eyebrow. My reminder that survival sometimes looks like betrayal, that protecting yourself isn't selfish, that you can't save people determined to drown. Darnell asks if I'm okay. I smile, genuine this time. Yeah, I say. I finally am. If this story resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share. You're not alone in choosing yourself. And remember, family is who shows up, not who shares your blood. Thank you for listening to my story. Drop a comment about your own journey and remember, your peace matters more than their comfort.